Now, as we talk about manpower requirements for a security detail, and I'm going to just detail the manpower with these little tan figures. Okay, now let's say you've got a non-shooter who is a smart and savvy businessman or businesswoman, and that person is the one who is going to town, who's going to be making all of your primary negotiations over trade, over production, things like that. They may be carrying the money. They may be doing a lot of the decision making and negotiation with other groups, and that person is going to need security. If that person is acting with a very high level of personal awareness, great. But the reality is you can't watch your own back and get involved in high-level business negotiations very easily. You really want to start specializing and delegating certain types of issues. So a really basic security detail is going to involve what we call the PSO. That's going to be the security specialist, the primary security officer or personal security officer. Probably you're going to have a specialized driver. And that's because security driving it requires a lot more attention than just normal commuting. Okay, the security driver versus somebody who commutes and they're on a cell phone or they're on a two-way radio and they're not really paying attention to everything. That works when everybody else is playing by the rules of the road. It works much less when you're also having to look out for ambushes, roadside ambushes, obstacles in the road, deteriorated roads, and things like that. Then you've got your shooter. Now, we would assume that everybody's a shooter, but a lot of times in those types of situations, it's impractical for everybody to carry a long gun or a serious primary weapon. It's also not entirely common or practical for everybody in those situations to be a highly qualified medic and carrying a true medic pack. I'm not talking about just a little individual first aid kit, but a full-on medic pack. I'm also going to say that, you know, your driver may be your least experienced and qualified person, but they should be on the ball. Your PSO always stays with the principal person who's being protected. Your shooter may also act as your advance man. So as the primary person and the PSO coordinate where you're going next, a lot of times what they need to do is they need to send an advance man out to make sure, A, that the travel route is clear, and B, to make sure that the destination is clear and safe. There's a lot of protocols involved with that. I cannot detail them all in one video. What we will say is that minus your non-shooter or your primary person, that a security detail in a away team, if you want to call it in Star Trek terms, has to involve at least 3 people. Okay? Do we call this 3 red shirts? Maybe. But that's really the way it needs to work in a high threat, high danger situation that is not outright tactical operations.